I created this viral cat video using Google's VEO3.
Order up!
This is Cat Donald's, and it's a TikTok profile that's generating AI kittens. The best video has 14.7 million. So you can see that it's not that hard to go viral if you're posting regular content on TikTok. And he's actually not even put anything in his bio. So this is something that you can monetize with affiliate products, with your own products or merchandising, and you can make money off this. This automation is pretty straightforward. So the way I've generated this is the first node is going to be a schedule trigger. The second node is a generate ideas AI agent. And what I've asked it to do is to define the prompt below. And so the prompt is generate ideas for a cute baby cat working in McDonald's. Now that's obviously based on what I've seen with the example that I've just shown you, but you can put whatever you want in here. And then you want to add, this requires specific output format. You want to toggle that on, and I'll show you why. And then the system message is the most important part of the AI agent, because this is what sets the context. So if I go inside of here, this one's quite long because I've asked it for very specific things. So you're an AI storyteller, trained to craft a short form, surreal, viral video concept based on a given theme. And that's obviously going to be whatever we decide to give it, right? And then these are the rules here. And I've kept it short. If it's going to be longer, then it's obviously going to cost you more when you're generating the video. I've given it some location details, and then the format is going to be structured in an array like this. So I've got captions, hashtags, viral shorts, scene, environment, and status fields. And I'm asking the prompt to create that, right? I'm asking the AI agent to do that. And you can see here it's in square brackets, which means that it's an array. It just means that it's a table because I'm using more than one variable. And then when I run that, you'll see that there's an output here, but more importantly, it's separated it out per field, right? And this is very important because if I didn't have the specific output format toggled on, it would just be one output. But here you can see that it's an object, and inside there's a bunch. It's basically a table, which makes more sense if I show you like this. And each of these is a string. And because of that, what we need to do is we need to add a structured output parser, which is this module here, and it's basically the same thing. I've just literally copied and pasted it here. You could put something in here if you wanted to, but it's mostly a placeholder, so you don't really need it, because when you look at the output here, you'll see that the AI agent will just replace it with whatever is generated. And then, as with all AI agents, you do need a language model. So for this, I've just selected ChatGPT's OpenAI, and it's 4.1 mini, which is very affordable and it's super fast as well. And the next node after that is another prompt agent node. So this is another AI agent. I'm going to define it below because what I wanted to do is generate a video prompt for this idea. And that's just going to be the scene here. So I've just dragged it over and moved it there. And then for the environment, I'm just dragging this over and moving it here. And then for this, we want to require specific output again. And then as per the previous agent, we need a system message. So this one is more or less the same kind of format, but now it's obviously going to develop the prompts for we're going to generate inside of VEO3. So you can see here, it's quite long. And if you know me well, you know that I like to be very thorough when it comes to prompts, because if you want the best output, you got to spend a bit of time inside of the prompting. But don't panic, because I'll show you, if you stick around until the end of the video, how you can get this template for free. So it's got all the input for what I want for the output. And then when you run it, you'll see an output that has basically a prompt. And if I come out this, the next thing I've done is I'm going to update a sheet. So what I've decided to do is anytime it generates a URL from the Gen AI, which in this case is going to be Google VEO3, I want to save those details somewhere, because at the moment VEO3 is a little bit expensive. It's a bit on the pricey side, so I don't want to waste any of the videos that I'm generating. So for this, what I've done is I've created a Google Sheet, and I'll show you that. And all I'm doing is I'm just mapping everything that is developed inside of the prompt agent. So I've got a field for hashtags, scene, environment, status, and then final video. This will be updated at the end. And so this is the ID is generated automatically. So if I go back into the automation here, this is just a function inside of NA10. And all this means is it will just generate a unique ID. And then the captions is whatever the AI agents has developed with hashtag, scene, environment. Status is done because I've already ran this. And this is the video final URL for the video that I showed you at the start of this video, basically the cat video. And so when you run it, you'll see that there's an output, but more importantly, it's saved on your Google Sheet. And then once we have all that, we can now create the video. So this is a HTTP request node. And for this, I'm using File AI because I've already used it before in previous videos and I had some credit in there. So I've created a generic credential type, which is a header auth. And for this, we're using file.ai. So if you go inside of here, the header is authorization, and then the value is key space, and then your API key. So to find that, you just want to head over to file.ai, sign up. You need to put some credits in here. So you definitely want to top up with at least $10. Like I said, VEO3 is quite expensive at the moment, so just give it some time, but it's certainly one that I want to show you. And then you want to head over to account here and then API keys, and then just create an API key. And then the value that it generates, go over here and then paste it here. And that's all that is. And then because we're generated video, we need to send some JSON over. So you toggle on send body, the content type is raw. And then for the body itself, we just need to send a variable over called prompt. And inside that is just going to be the output from the prompt agent. So just drag this over and you'll see it's worked because it's got the text below it. But more importantly, it's actually running it now. So you can see that the status when I ran it at the time, it was in queue, which means that we're going to need a wait node. So whenever it comes to Gen AI, it's not going to be instant, right? Certain platforms are faster than others. Certain models, language models are faster than others. But since VEO3 is new, it's going to roughly take about 10 minutes for this to run. So I've just set this up for 1 second because I'm testing it. But you probably want this to be about 10 minutes. And then once it's done, once the video is complete, we can then get the video. So for this, we have another HTTP request node. And this time it's just this URL here, this endpoint. And then we just need the request ID, which is from the previous node wait module node. And it's just this one here. You just drag it over here and then move it there. And you can see that it's worked because it's obviously green and then it's got the full URL. For the authentication, we're going to need the file AI authentication because otherwise you'll just be able to download anybody's videos. And you don't need a body here because all we're doing is just grabbing the video. So now you have the final video. This is where it's stored on files cloud. You can see the content type is MP4 and the file name is output.mp4. And so the last step is now going to be an update sheet, which is just a Google Sheet node. It's an update row. It's the same sheet, but this time I'm going to match the column on the scene. So if I go back to the previous node here, update sheet. So this is this field here, drag. And then the only other thing we need is the final URL, which is this URL here from the get video node. And I've changed the status to done. And so what that means is when you run the automation again, if I go back to the previous sheet here, this will only pick up in process. So if I was to run this again and I had another video here, it would only pick up to process, right? It would ignore the first row because that's done. And so that's the automation in a nutshell. And if you want to get this entire automation for free, and you also want this sheet here, head over to my school classroom, go over to the classroom tab, click on AI automations, and you'll see it inside of here. And I've got a ton of automations in here that you can literally just download and upload into your N8N or even your Make accounts. So thanks again for watching this video. Smash the like button, smash subscribe, turn your notifications on, and I'll see you next time.